All right, so we're back with round two with Rich. And Richard, you were saying something really cool during our break that I want you to talk about again about the whole.
Yeah, we did go over something here, which that's the way I look at things. Because at the end of the day, everyone has a problem with something. You know, you can't please everybody. Some people think this fish may be too colorful, or this fish may be too old, or this one's too young. Like you cannot please everybody. But as far as hunting goes and what we do, I mean, if I was an animal, first of all, I would rather be, first born in naturally the way I'm supposed to be born. Like let's say whether I'm a wild boar or a fish or whatever, I'm born in a natural environment, and then if I go out and hunt, at least I'm putting all this effort and respect into hunting. And when I take down that animal, there's respect there. There's success and almost kind of celebration type of way. So people have said, "Oh, why are you smiling in your pictures? Are you smiling because you like killing things?" I'm like, no. This is more of a celebration of life. This is natural. We just harvested a nice animal that we can feed our family with, and this should be celebrated. This animal would be much better off being celebrated and enjoyed that way than actually. How would you feel if you were just something that's raised in a kettle
In a factory farm.
in a factory farm
In a cage.
where they chop your head off and they send you they chop you up and they send you to markets where somebody just walks by and grabs a piece of meat without even think about that life or what went behind it. If I'm an animal, I would much rather be respected in a way of being harvested the right way. I was taken down. It is what it is, but at least someone respects my life. And I mean, whoever's coming by to it's not like you're just going by the supermarket, grabbing a piece of meat where you don't even think about it.
Right. Yeah, and that's it's funny. There was that movie Avatar that came out, and by the way, we talk about a lot of sci-fi movies on this program. But Avatar was a cool movie because they kind of they showed this outer world species, whatever. I can't remember what they were called, but maybe George remembers.
The Navi.
The Navi. Okay. So, anyways, but they were all about the sacredness of hunting an animal and taking an animal, and when you think about how we consume food now, how we consume animals, how we consume any type of anything, it's such a machine behind it, and it's so impersonal, and it's just cold. I mean, you look at those videos of the factory farming and the pigs in these little tiny cages, and the chickens all pecking at each other, pooping on each other.
You're tortured.
It's horrendous compared to the fish that's living a life and it's swimming through the ocean. It's a strong fish and it's doing its thing, and you're a hunter and you're after it, and it's already lived a free life, and it's kill or be killed in the out in nature, and you're the top predator. But
natural selection.
Yeah, but it's not this contrived, controlled raising pen that's just sick, and antibiotics and all the shit that they do in there.
Huge carbon footprints.
That too. Yep.
Yeah. So that's, for everyone who tries to say, hey, how can you do this or whatnot, I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, at least I know what I'm doing is way more respectful
Totally.
than what 90% of the people are doing. There's just, at least I'm working hard for it. I'm doing it the hard way, the respectful way, and at least it's something to celebrate. There's a lot of things going on behind it, a lot of joy. Not enjoying killing. That's not the thing. The joy is about the respect of life. Because when you take something down, you kind of respect it. You give it, you take it home. You share it with your family. You do smile because you know what? It's celebration. It's the way of life. This goes back to day one of humankind. So
Yep.
People want to be detached from that. They can be, but that's. I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, we are hunters. We are gatherers, and then it's a cycle of life. And it's what it is.
When you were telling the story about growing up in Lebanon, that told me right there that you grew up understanding that relationship between animals and predators and all that stuff, and how you were kind of makeshifting to to do whatever it is you were doing with the fishing, with the treble hook and all that. And that's an experience a lot of people don't have, especially in the big cities.
I mean,
in the
I've been
first
very
world
blessed.
countries.
I've been very blessed. I've been, you know what? I'm a happy person. I don't have to have the most money or the best life or nothing, but naturally I wake up happy. And even though I've been through war, you know what? I, I love my life in every way possible. You know what I'm saying? My whole family, everything else, the way I grew up, how little we had, where I'm at right now. I mean, it's all been a blessing. It's as good as I could ever ask for. It doesn't get any better than that.
That's nice, man.
Yeah, it's. I mean, yeah. I always say, I always keep saying it. I could honestly say I'm probably the happiest man in the world. You know?
Well, cheers to happiness, brah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Jorge.
Eric.
It's not about what you have, it's about what you make of it. You know
Absolutely.
what? You could get the same incident and someone will make it into a negative, or someone will make it a positive. It's just the way you look at it, and the way you want to carry your life on. You know, that's what it boils down to. I mean, it's just like this whole shutdown thing. I mean, I have a bunch of investments that are, went down to zero. I hadn't thought about it. It's like I don't care. I mean, I'm still young. First of all, if I will have to go back, I mean, right now I haven't been working much because I've been having some great investments or whatnot. But if I have to go back to work, I'm fine. I'm not like waking up every morning like saying, oh man, this is the. I don't care. Like, it's not a big deal. I'm still happy. I'm healthy. For me, actually, that's what it is. Family and health. You know, that's what it boils down to. If you're healthy,
those are two good bases.
Because I mean, sometimes you don't know what you have until you lose it, and then most people always look at what they don't have, and then they judge their life based on that. I'm the opposite. I look at what I have and base my happiness and my life based on that. So
it's a good perspective, good positive thinking.
I mean, just the little things, and honestly, it's stuff that people don't even think about every day. Just having your eyesight or your vision.
Oh, dude, or not having to take horse pills because you got a rad case of some genetic disease, or shots and insulin.
Whatever it may be. I mean, every time I'm in a scenario with a friend where they're going through a hard time, I'm like, well, you know what? I know how hard you're going through, but how about this? How about if you were in a bed in a hospital right now, and you were given 1 day to die, 1 day to live, and you're gonna die tomorrow? What would you pay, or how would you feel to be actually in your situation right now with the problems that you're telling me? He goes, man, I would give the end of the world. Well, there you go. You know what? It's all about perspective. What? It's not where you're at. It's not where you could be. I mean, it's where you could be, right? And that's how I look at life.
And more importantly, where you are right now.
Exactly.
Hey, so what's in the future with competing and shooting fish and all that stuff? Are you?
I still love competing. Unfortunately, I'm kind of getting older a little bit, and it's a lot of effort for me. But I love it. I still do it, especially the easier stuff that I could take the boat and still enjoy day out.
Right.
But it's still a lot of work. I mean, I'm so focused, and it's like we're putting everything we got in the competition. Like I said earlier, I mean, when it comes to competition, as far as when it's a competition, I'm giving my 100%. There's no I'm not gonna I actually have surpassed what I thought my limits was, which is what's great about competition. Like, you actually get to know your limits and beyond some. Like, I've been on a paddle where I was far away from the weigh-in, and I have to be there at a certain time. I have maybe 30 minutes to make it back, but the paddle is 45 minutes to 50 minutes. I know that, and I know I have to haul ass for 30 minutes as fast as I can, and I'll still maybe even make it. But you know what? Giving your 100% for 30 minutes on a paddle, after 5 minutes, I'm talking about 100%. That's everything you got. If you were to do or die, you probably last 5 minutes, right? But in a competition, I've actually paddled for 30 minutes straight to the weigh-in to make it back to the weigh-in. Where I got to the weigh-in, I could almost pass out. I would pretty much pass out. But I would never reach those limits in any other scenario. That's why I like competition, because it tests your your outer limits, way
Yeah.
beyond that than you thought possible. And I've almost fainted in competitions. Like I've reached that point.
You know what, man? I think I took 10 years off of my knees one time when we were at Salt Creek, and I was all the way out at Dana Point, and I had to run across the sand. It was like a mile and a half, dude. That you know what I'm talking about? From the Dana Point all the way to the Salt Creek parking lot.
God.
Dude, I ran the entire way with a weight belt, 20 pounds of fish, and I was like, dude, I think, seriously, my knees were never the same after that, dude.
As far as the story goes, my most extreme, like, you know, making it into the way in on almost almost getting DQ'd was 1,000 steps out of all places.
Oh, 1,000 steps is
it's
brutal.
1,000 steps. Okay.
For those that don't know 1,000 steps, that's in Laguna, and it is probably, I don't know if it's
called
exactly
1,000
1,000
steps, I
steps,
mean.
but it's about that, and it's like an eighth of a mile down steep stairs. It's crazy.
So, anyways, I was heading back. It was towards the end of the meet. I haven't done that well, but I never give up. Like I always give my 100% towards the end, and I've won a lot of competitions the last like 5-10 minutes. It's like literally like, so I know not to never give up. I don't care how bad I'm doing. Like people's just, you know, when they don't do well halfway through the meet, they're like, okay, there's no I'm gonna do any good, so they can't give up. In competition, for me, that's not how it goes. I'm giving 100%.
If you
to
can't
the
stop throwing up,
yeah.
okay, then you stop.
So I was heading to the beach. I was like towards the end of the meet. I was like 20 minutes or 30 minutes left to the weigh-in. I was already done and kind of getting back, and then I ran to this nice big sheephead. I freaking shot this thing and went into this cave that was like 10 feet back cave. And I'm looking at the time. There's like, I got this fish on, but I can't even see how the fish because it's so far back in this cave. I only got like 25, 30 minutes to make it to the weigh-in, and the thing is way up there, and the fish is still on the line.
Oh, they had the weigh-in was at the top of the hill, right?
Yeah, the weigh-in was top of the hill.
The top of the stairs, an eighth of a mile up.
So I gotta work this fish out of this cave first of all, and I'm like taking one breath on the surface, diving down to work this fish out, and then go back to the surface, take 1 or 2 breaths, and go back down. Like I have no time to breathe up. Like that's how critical my time was. Now I'm down to like 15 minutes left, and somehow I finally got this fish out of the cave, and I look at my time. I got like 6 minutes left. Like 6 minutes, I'm in the water, right?
Gosh, yeah, forget it.
So I didn't get the fish out of my shaft and put on my stringer or nothing. I just held everything with all the lines. Everything dragging behind me. I swam as hard as I can to the beach, and I got things dragging behind me. I'm like, I look at the stairs, like freaking hill, and I'm literally like 2.5 minutes to go. Like, oh shit! So I'm after all this like hard work in the water. Now I have to sprint up this like 1,000 steps, right, up this cliff, this mountain. So I'm running up this thing, and then people are walking down. They're like, "Oh, nice fish! How big is?" Like, leave me alone.
I know. I'm not trying to be rude, but shut the fuck up. I gotta get up this hill right now. Get out of my
Get
way.
up there, you know,
Oh
like.
my God.
So I'm dragging this whole gear with me. Lines are dragging like 20 feet behind me, and I finally get to the top, like within like 20-30 seconds to spare. And literally, I got there. I put everything on the floor. And I pretty much just dropped on the floor.
Just crashed right there, right?
I crashed so hard, I swear to goodness, and Paul will not get back this up. There was an ambulance passing by, and they saw me fall on the floor. They freaking turned around. They put their sirens on. They came up to me and said, "Is this guy all right?" You know, he's all right. He's just catching his breath. Don't worry.
Oh.
So that's how hard like you give it in a competition, and that's the only time I get to go through that. Like any other time, I will never ever have. I would have never reached any of those limits on you know, aside from competition, which is why I love competition. I see things that I've never. I mean, I could never experience any other way. So it's for me. I hold a very I cherish competitions in a way. It's not all my life, but it's a very important part of my life. I've done it a lot in the past. I don't do it as much, but you know what? It's got me where I am today. The way I think, the way I operate, even when I go for tuna or whatever, I have a competition mentality.
You know what? You said it right there, and that's one thing I've noticed. Like when I go out on people's boats, and you know they're like, you know, in chill mode, man. Like, oh, let's eat some food. Let's hang out I'm gonna dive for about 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna get out, and we're gonna hang out. And I'm just like, 2 hours later, Eric comes on the boat, because I have that same mindset. I'm here to fucking shoot a fish, god damn it, and I'm here to get my fill and fill my freezer and come home excited that I really harvested well, So everybody knows now. Like when I go out on their boats, they're like, oh, Eric's on the boat. He's gonna be in the water the whole time. We're gonna be like turning out the lights at 9:00, and I'm out lobster diving until 1 a.m. after diving all day. I don't care.
Believe it or not, we get pretty lazy on our boat too. I mean, it depends what kind of trip it is. But we have a lot of lazy trips too, and when it's
when it's appropriate, right? Like if it's shitty,
I went
and
out
it's
2
just
days
not
ago to
going
Catalina
on.
Island. It was the first trip of the year, and it was supposed to be a chill trip. Like we weren't planning to like dive our ass off or nothing. We went out there and then we chilled, and we there was no pressure or nothing, and that's how most of my trips are. But when it comes down to it, like when we're trying to get the tuna, and like it's like it's a tough day, and then people are out there trying to get the fish we're trying to get. We actually go into that competition like mindset, and then try to utilize all our knowledge from competition and transfer it to this day, and then maximize our pretty much our opportunity.
Right, and that's kind of what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's like every time you go out, it's like, oh, fuck all you guys are all pussies. We're working hard. It's okay. We're going to Clemente. We're gonna go overnight. We're gonna get lobsters, and we're gonna have to go yellowtail, and we're gonna go after whatever else we can find. Okay. All right. Well, that's what we're here to do, right? So, okay, we're gonna hit 3 spots. We hit 3 spots. We look for yellowtail. Okay, not really finding any much. I'm just gonna, maybe I'll jump in this spot for 10 minutes. Like, no. Jump in and work it and work it and work it. Give it a good 30 minutes. So, and then at night, everybody's like, oh, I'm tired. I don't feel like getting lobster. I'm like, dude, we're here to load up. Come on, man. When's the next time you're gonna come out here? What happens if the weather goes to shit for 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks? That's it.
Yeah. That's it.
So you got to get it when you can get it. So that's what I mean. But like when you got to do it.
Yeah, when you gotta do it, you take that experience you've gotten from competition,
and you
put
apply
it
it.
to good use. Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
Wow.
So,
a world I know nothing about.
Well, I know you're probably have 3,000 questions that you're dying to ask right now.
Yeah, like, what is a fish? What's a yellowtail?
Yeah.
Well, oh boy, where's Google?
Yeah,
you are Google right now.
We'll have to show some pictures of some nice fish that Richie and I, and especially Richie, we got to show us his fish pictures.
So how long can you hold your breath for?
Big question. How long can you hold your breath, man?
I mean, obviously, when you're holding your breath without doing like diving and exerting yourself, you can hold your breath much longer, obviously. I mean, so if I was just sitting in one place and holding my breath just for the sake of holding my breath and trying to go as long as I can, it's over 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes, like 5.5, 5:45 or something. But that doesn't really matter because it's more, because there are free divers and there are spear fishermen. We are spear fishermen. We're hunters. So free divers concentrate more about their breath hold, their deepest dives. Like we only care to go deep enough to get a fish. We don't care to go to the abyss and to go what's the max we get. We only care to go down to get our fish and come back up. So we could never compete against like real free divers. Those guys are animals.
That's like 5-6 minute animals.
Yeah. I mean, those guys just like that's all they're focused on, and you kind of meditate and you concentrate your brain to just doing that. But when you're actually diving and looking for fish and hunting and using your head and you're moving around, you're using a lot of oxygen. So it's not our priority on how long we can hold our breath or how deep. I mean, it comes in handy sometimes, but for the most part, our average dive is around a minute to 2 minutes.
Okay.
Depending.
2 minutes definitely on the high side. Minute is probably pretty average. Yeah. Minute and a half, you're in the zone.
Minute and a half, you're in the zone.
Your zone.
I would say on a minute and a half, which that's actually working. Like you're moving your legs and you're burning oxygen. You're diving down. you're looking for a fish and coming up. A minute and a half is a good time that you will get you to shoot. I mean, or to harvest almost anything you want. And then as far as depth, I would say around the world. I mean, locally we don't have to go too deep, but I would say if you're a 70, 80 foot diver, we'll cover you for pretty much a lot. If you're a 100-foot diver, that's pretty good too. And there's certain parts of the world where you have to go past 100 feet.
Wow.
I mean, I wouldn't call myself a deep diver by no means. There's a lot way deeper divers than I am. I'm more of a hunter. I have more of a hunter instinct, so I make up whatever I can't dive. With hunting instincts, I always hold my own, and come back with the fish I need to come back with.
So what kind of fish do you or can you catch at 100 feet?
Well, depending where you're at. Like I said, right here, you don't have, you almost never have to go 100 feet unless you're actually training or you're trying to just trying to train yourself basically.
So no point around here.
There's no point around here. Where sometimes me and my buddy, we go down to like 90, 100 feet trying to shoot calico bass at certain spots of the island back in the days. But that's more like, getting your body shaped up and just doing it for the heck of it. It's not like you don't have to, because you can shoot those fish in 30 feet of water, 20 feet of water. So, but other than that, I mean, there's certain parts of the world, like, especially like the fish called dog-tooth tuna, which are generally on the deeper side and a lot of currents. So you have to be a capable free diver to be able to get down to them. And in those places, I would say a person who is much better at deep diving could probably have a little upper hand than I am, because like I said, I'm not a deep diver. So at 70, 80 feet, past 80 feet, I would say I start being handicapped as far as my hunting ability, because you can only hunt so well if the fish.
And then you already got to come back up again.
If the fish are at 120, and you could be the best hunter, and you're only 80-foot diver or 100-foot diver, then the 120-foot diver is gonna do better than you at that point. But anything below that, I could hold my own with with the best, let's say, free diver or hunter or whatever, because
Nice.
my hunting instincts can actually play the role. So, but yeah, I have really good friends who are deeper divers. Brandon Waters, he's a good deep diver. Actually one of the best hunters that I know. I mean, he dove with me a lot. I showed him a lot of the ropes, and then he took a lot of what I showed him, put it with what he knows, and then he accelerated and became a phenomenal, like a world-class diver, and like a few of my other buddies as well. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much how we view as far as deep diving and long, breath holds and so forth. It doesn't really matter, as long as you go down, you get your fish and you come back. That's what counts. It's the kind of fish you put on the boat. It's not how long you hold your breath. So for us for spearfishing, being a better hunter, I think is a little more important than being a deep diver overall.
Cool.
But the groupers are the deep fish.
Groupers
For the reef.
Are you could do better in deeper water, and which I do pretty good in, because their prime depth is between 50 and 70, 80 feet. You could do really well on them, and I'm very comfortable in those depth. And I do very well in groupers. I've been hunting groupers for long time. I started hunting groupers 20 years ago, and it's one of my favorite type of hunting. Groupers and cabria, obviously. Groupers, they're bigger fish. Like I said, we only shoot like one fish a trip, just for the meat or whatnot, because they're older fish, and we try to preserve, and there's only so many of them and so forth. We definitely do our part. So then we resort to like cabrias, which is like almost like a grouper, but a smaller version. There's plenty of them. So we do a lot of that in Baja, California, which is, I would say, one of my best. I mean, I travel around the world for spearfishing, and I would say Baja is one of my favorite places to go spearfish.
Does anybody spearfish in San Felipe?
Yeah, we do a lot. Well, not necessarily in San Felipe.
Just south of there.
Yes, I mean we would definitely go through San Felipe a lot,
La
but probably about 80 miles south of San Felipe, maybe 100 miles or so. We start getting into the good diving area because San Felipe is at the end of the whole mouth of the whole
Gulf.
Like, Cortez, Sea of Cortez.
And
it's generally very dirty. It's very sandy. There's not much structure, no reefs. So we usually go through San Felipe and go further down to where the islands start and the reefs and so forth. And that's where we kind of there's some really good spots down there. We have a good time and get a lot of nice fish and take back home, and it's really cool. Like, probably one of my best places in the world.
You ever see like giant squid?
I have. I've seen giant squid while diving. I've caught them fishing in the Sea of Cortez, and they're very interesting, very interesting animals. I mean, I saw them once. I was on a dive, like a long dive, probably a 2-minute dive, and a whole school of squid. As I was coming up, a whole school of squid, giant squid came by, probably like 3 feet long, 2.5, 3 feet long each, and it kind of spooked me a little bit, but then it was kind of mesmerizing just to see them all like just come through.
I've heard all the scary stories about like the red diablos, right? The rojo diablos. They get fishermen at night that fall off the boat and take them down, and
There's a lot of stories, but they are definitely vicious. I think one of my best times with squid is we used to do a trip on, it's called a boat called Mary Lee. We used to do like a 5-day liverboard out of La Paz, and I used to go out with a bunch of guys. They're from a different club, from Neptunes, Maury, Larry Heinrich, so some of the guys. And then anyways, we used to go out there. We anchored at one of the islands, and I was in the room, and then Maury calls me out. He goes, "Hey, come out here, So I go out there, and there's all these squid on the light, these giant squid. So we got the fishing poles, and we started like catching these squid. And it was late, and we already had a few drinks, but man, it was one of the best times I ever had. It was like, so we would catch these squid, and pretty much they're pretty much a mess. Like the squid are a mess. So you get them up, and then you grab these squid, and they're squirting ink everywhere. And you just, at one point, you kind of grab the squid, and you can shoot your friend with ink, and like there's a mess everywhere, and you're just in shorts and with no shirt because it's warm down there anyways, and the whole deck is full of ink, and it was a blast. We had such a good time fishing squid. Like it was, I definitely will remember those days for sure.
So, what's the most amazing thing that you've ever seen?
Man, the whole diving ocean is for me. It's amazing. It's just it's definitely a different world underwater. Like it's literally a different world because like you transfer. It's probably the closest thing to being in a different world on Earth than anything else you could imagine on being here to as far as experience.
Yeah,
I think so, because your whole senses changes, your vision changes, your hearing changes. So it's like it's from every angle, it's a different world. So you almost like it's as different as you can ask for while being on Earth, to be honest with you. And I don't know. I've been diving for so long. It's those questions where when I'm asked like what's one thing, it's hard for me to think because I've just been doing it for so long, and I have so many different things.
Well, what about the scariest thing? There has to be one where it really hit you.
Scary in which way?
Like you saw a huge shadow, or something actually came at you, or
I'll tell you a funny one. I don't know about how scary. I was a little scared, but it was kind of weird. But I was coming up from a dive in Long Beach Break. Well, it's usually pretty dirty over there.
Yeah, a little spooky sometimes.
Yeah, it's kind of spooky. And then I'm coming up from a dive. At the end of my dive, I need some air, and I'm reaching the surface, and all of a sudden my head just freaking just goes into this like right when I thought I was supposed to be hitting the surface. I get embedded in this big old blob of what the hell is going on, like just covers my whole, head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so I kind of like just jump back. I'm like, whoa, this is like, what the hell is going on here? And at the same time, what I went through also felt the same thing. So I guess I ran to a big old blob of sea lion, like a huge sea lion that was just sunbathing or whatever, just one of those fat ones.
Crazy.
And my head went right through it. Like I mean, I felt the whole stomach come around my head, like just covered my whole mask.
Oh my god.
And the thing just bolts out, like just sticking up. I bolt the wrong way, the other way too. And like, can you imagine just coming across this thing, this big old, just running to a sea lion head to head, like coming into right into the middle of this big old sea lion. And afterwards, I saw him go up on the rocks and like just but it was huge. It was like 500-600, 1,000-pound freaking sea lion, like. Stuff like that, but I'm sure I've had a lot of scary incidents.
What about sharks? Any good shark stories?
Yeah, I've had I would say 2 incidents where I would say I was very close to getting kind of chopped up a little bit, maybe at least bitten. So I was down in Ascension Island, which is in the middle of nowhere in the Pacific Ocean between pretty much Brazil and South Africa, which is in the middle of nowhere. But anyways, we were hunting tunas and I had shot a wahoo. And my buddy, because we were diving in pairs, but my buddy somehow was the current had drifted us a little bit further apart. And I brought this wahoo. I shot this wahoo. I was bringing it up. There's a bunch of sharks there. We're diving through sharks all the time. I'm comfortable with sharks. But anyways, I brought this wahoo up, and this shark was kind of aggressive, trying to get the wahoo. And it came up trying to get the wahoo, so I don't want it to get the wahoo, so I finally got the wahoo in my hand. And now, the shark came up, like, in my hands, trying to grab the wahoo out of my hand, biting, just taking chumps, right next to me. I'm trying to, get away from the shark. And at one point, it wouldn't leave me alone. I'm like, okay, well, this thing's getting kind of like too much here. My buddy's far away. I gotta let this wahoo go because this shark is not getting away from me unless he takes a bite of something. It's either gonna be me or the wahoo, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, screw it. I'm just gonna let go of the wahoo, which is something I normally don't do. I don't let go of fish to a shark unless, like I said, this was one of my first times where I actually had a shark where there was that persistent, where wanted something really bad. So I let this wahoo go, and the wahoo went away. It swam like, it was kind of still alive. It kind of sunk down or somewhere. It was swimming like 10, 15, 20 feet. Well, okay, here you go. Have at it, And the shark comes up like that and looks at it, looks at me, and just comes straight at me. Like, I'm like, dude, seriously, I just gave you the wahoo, and now you're coming back at me. So the shark is now on me. He's trying to get, trying to bite me. He's just taking.
What kind of shark was it? Tiger or a bull?
No, it wasn't a tiger or a bull. It was a popular one we have in Ascension Island, but one of the bigger ones. I'm not good in sharks, so I don't know all the names, so that's one of my weak points. But anyway. This shark was just taking just
in
pretty
the
much,
air, yeah,
biting the whole time on me. I'm like moving my body around, so I put my wooden gun at that point is what I had because my shaft has a fish on it. So I have that between me and the fish, between me and the shark, and the shark is the whole time like, okay, well this thing is like, it's not going away. Like at one point, he's gonna find a way to get a chunk off of me or bite me at one point. So I had a feeling I was going to get bit at that point. And at that point, I went up, I called my buddy. I'm like, hey, I'm calling my buddy, like, get your ass over here. Like, what the hell's going on? I need help. And then I see him swimming, and then this thing is on me, like, the whole time for probably about, I would say, a whole minute and a half, which is a long time.
That's a long time to be wondering when you're going to get chomped.
This thing is on me, like going left, right, and I got this gun between me and the fish, try and hold it back, and he's chewing down my, and that's when actually it bit through my bungee. I had my bungee was all cut up, and then finally my friend shows up, and sharks are very sensitive to when they have the upper hand and when they have the underhand or whatnot. So as soon as my friend shows up, he's on one side, I'm on one side, we're getting after that. I mean, it knew right away it was outnumbered. So it's little by little just took off by itself. But
Crazy.
But that was probably a time where I thought like I was kind of close to getting bit. I'm not worried about sharks. I've dove with sharks many times in different parts of the world. We don't have to worry about them here too much. The ones you got to worry about here is pretty much it happens right away if it's gonna happen. So we only have great whites out here, and if they're gonna get you, they can get you, and you're not gonna do much about it.
You probably won't even know it's happening until it's happening.
Right.
With those guys.
But yeah, that was I had that incident, and just one other incident in Cabo with a hammerhead. If you guys want to hear about that, but
Yeah.
Tell the hammer.
I mean, I wish you had a GoPro on you, man.
so like I said, I've always done okay with sharks, and I've never worried about them. I've never thought I have to defend myself by shooting one, because I always thought I could poke one away or do whatever I got to do. It's never been registered in my mind that ultimately I would need to shoot one. But we were hunting wahoos. For some reason, freaking sharks love wahoo. I mean, everything loves wahoo.
It's good fish.
Yeah, and then we were hunting off Cabo. Me and my two buddies were in the water. I had just shot in a wahoo. I let it, sit there for a while, let it bleed, because I was waiting for all the wahoos to come in, so my friends can shoot one. Anyways, I got this wahoo up. I threw it in the boat, and I'm not sure if I had the wahoo on me or not. But anyways, it was kind of clear water. I saw a hammerhead come up from like 60, 70 feet away, coming straight at me. Okay, that's fine. This thing's coming straight at me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go straight at it too. I'm gonna show him, because with sharks, it's like dominance pretty much. You're in the water, top of the food chain. You gotta show who's boss, right? So okay, well, it's coming at me. I'm gonna go at it. I'm going after it too. So it's going straight at me from like 60 feet down, and it's a bigger hammerhead. And I make a dive, and I start going after it, and then it's coming closer. I'm going closer, and this thing the thing came so close. I put my gun out, and the thing never turned. Usually, like, they would turn or something, as if you're aggressive and you chase it down or something, and this thing never turned. And it came up so hard, I had to poke it with my gun. It pushed me back out of the water. I got to the surface now, and this thing was mean. Like
he had an attitude. He was a bull.
He had an attitude. He wasn't happy, and he wanted a piece of me. Like and these like hammerheads, they're so fast side to side. They turn so quick. Like when they're going around you like that, because they have that like
that head.
That head
the
turns
flat
fast.
profile.
So now on the surface, this thing is making circles around me, trying to get after me. But I have my gun between me and the fish. My gun is loaded. I got 4 or 5 bands ready to go. But I never thought about shooting at that point. Still, I'm like, okay, at one point this thing's gonna chew, take off, right? So, but this thing was making circles around me and trying to get around the gun to get after me. And I could only swim my gun so fast too, and then the fish is fast, and I was keeping up, but it got to the point again. I'm like, all right, this thing is on me for so long that at one point he's gonna get around my gun and take a chunk off of me. Like I just kind of accepted that. I'm like, okay, this thing is gonna win the battle. I mean, because you're going back and forth, but at one point he might get the upper hand. Like,
you're in his world.
Yeah, you're in his world, and you could only do so much. You can only play it so right. At one point, he might make the right move and go around your gun and take a chunk off you. And I'm there sitting and thinking, I'm like, what the hell's going on? How the hell am I being freaking chased down by the shark for like a minute or two right now? And this thing hasn't gone away. Like it wouldn't leave me alone. So my friend comes around, and unfortunately, I mean, this is what we have to do. I mean, listen, this is like I told you, this was the last option. You know, it's not like it is what it is. But my friend came around, and this thing was so aggressive that he actually had to put a shaft through this fish, through this shark, because I mean, it's one on one at that point.
He wasn't getting the message.
Yeah, it was one on one, and it's a game of survival at that point. You know, it's my world, it's his world, and someone's got to win. And he didn't want to quit. Obviously, I can't. You know, I can't give up. I'm not gonna quit. I'm not gonna die.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
imagine if your buddy wasn't there.
So my buddy came around and he put a shaft right through it, and the thing sunk down. And I actually thanked him, like, you know what, dude, I'm so thankful you came and did that, because it never crossed my mind to shoot a shark, because I never had to. Like, I've dealt with a lot of sharks before, and I've always gotten away without, you know, without having to do anything like that. But when it came down to it, that point, I should have done it myself, because my gun was loaded, and I got to the point where I had a feeling that this shark was actually gonna bite me and take a chunk off of me. Where I should have, by that point, I should have shot. I did all I could do. It's one of those deals where it is unfortunate, but you know what? You're in the water, and you know, we're all hunters, and it's a different environment, and then sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
You know, I've heard stories of guys, you know, and I've had to fight with seals. I've had lots of fights with seals at Soodle Rock over there at SBI. There's some bulls out there that get pretty aggressive. But I've heard, you know, stories of guys, hey, you know what, if a seal is constantly on you and starting to threaten you, you know, you just take the tip off your gun and get a little bit of ways and give them a little warning shot, you know. That way you don't get the tip stuck
Right.
in them. You know, just hit them with the blunt end of the shaft, and
They get aggressive. Sea lions get
they'll
really
get the
aggressive.
message and then swim away, you know.
Yeah,
Not that we like
sea
to
lions
shoot at
get
those
super
animals,
aggressive.
but when they're napping at you, I mean, one time I had a yellowtail on me, and it bit into the tail, and its teeth sunk into the tail, and it pulled down. It pulled me down like 8 feet.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh shit, this thing's not letting go, man. He's not stopping. So I almost did it, but he finally got the message and started keeping his distance, and then I just swam to the boat and threw the fish on the boat, and that was it.
I mean, you're in an environment where it goes back to like back in the days where like whoever is on top will take piece of the action, and
That's it.
there's not much you could do. So you know, whoever has something to say, unless you're in that situation, you know,
You
there's
don't
there's not much you could say about it. But what we do is I mean, we put ourselves out there, and it's risky, and there's so much joy, but there's also a lot of risk that comes involved with it, and sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, it is what it is. It's been like that for ages, and for millions of years, and it will continue to be like that if you
That's
put yourself
right.
into it. You know.
Well, dude, I got to tell you, man, it was absolutely a pleasure to have you on tonight. And I appreciate you coming down and rapping with us and sharing some stories. And it's, you know, it's awesome to be with somebody here like you that's just like so spirited about what you're doing. And you've got this energy, and it makes for a good show.
And the respect for what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
the
all about
ocean,
respect.
everything.
Yeah. You gotta respect, even those that came before you, who carved the road for you. Respect goes a long way.
Yep.
From every angle possible. For respect to the ocean, to the things you love, to the people that carve things for you. I mean, yeah, respect goes a long way. Like you said, respect is huge for me.
Yeah.
And I definitely have a lot of respect for many things.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Yeah,
Richie, for
dude.
coming.
Thank you.
for sure,
Richard
man.
Balta, world-class spear fisherman, fellow fathomeer, good friend. Thanks again for coming on, and thanks you guys for watching.
Oh wait, I thought he was in the Neptunes.
He's the Plutos. Peace out, guys.
All right, guys.